A family in Spring Lake reunited after 18 months of court battles and serious drug charges, despite being a card-carrying medical marijuana patient. It's a story you will only see on Fox 17, one that Dana Chiklis broke more than a year ago.
It stirred up major questions about the way marijuana is tested in state police crime labs and then prosecuted in court. Dana's live in the studio now with more on this family's bittersweet homecoming. Dana?
Right, and after 18 months, Mac Lorenz's little boy is out of foster care and back at home. But the fight to get to these moments today still haunts the family. Mac's telling me there's just no way to make up for their lost time.
And he's mixed up half bird, half octopus.
Piece by piece, Max Lorenz and his family are putting their lives back together.
There's different elements. Life.
It's like 100 pounds being lifted off my chest. You know, it's like our entire life was put on hold the entire time he was gone.
Gone 18 months. Max and Erica's son Dante ripped away into foster care. Now he's finally home. Between criminal and family court, it's an experience they call hellish.
He said it's not something I'd wish on my worst enemy, the experience we went through. He's 6 now, almost 7, and you know, he's his own little person at this point. You know, before he was still just coming into his own, and we missed that entire portion of his life.
A bizarre case Fox 17 first uncovered, one the judge ultimately threw out. You may remember September 2014. That's when cops found a thumbprint of hash oil at Max's home during a medical emergency. It turned into a felony charge for synthetic THC because of a policy change from Michigan State Police when it comes to testing marijuana in their crime labs. 16 months later, Max's felony was dropped, but the court battles continued for another 2 months, this time with Bethany Christian Services working to regain custody of Dante. Only our cameras were in court for this hearing back in November.
What is it, other than his use of marijuana, that creates bad parenting?
Sure, I do. Marijuana is a psychoactive substance, and being under the influence doesn't allow you to be in the most clear mind for your child.
The third caseworker out of 5 in 18 months for Bethany Christian Services, testifying here that marijuana, even used legally for medical conditions, may make Max an unfit parent. A sticking point here in the hearings that this caseworker ultimately said she had no evidence for.
One of the reasons for you to recommend the permanent removal is because of drug substance issues, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, and we've already clarified that there are no drug substance issues at all regarding my client, am I right? Factually,
yes.
That you can refer to?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, weeks later, another slap in the face for the family. This billboard popping up down their street with the face of one of the attorneys working against them in the custody fight. Max and his family are moving on, but he's still calling for clarified patient rights here in Michigan for the medicine he says saved his life.
2009, when he was being born, he was born in Butterworth Hospital. I was dying of liver failure in Blodgett Hospital across town.
And time away from his son, Max says they'll never get back.
You know, try and make as many positive memories as we can to you know, make up the gap. But there's definitely nothing that'll replace the time that we lost. That's for sure.
And, you know, just to be clear, too, throughout this whole family court battle, we were in contact with Bethany Christian Services throughout Max and Erica's family court case. So that is the agency involved with placing their son Dante in foster care. They did tell us that they were unable to interview or answer any of our questions because it's an ongoing case. We are going to circle back and say, ask these questions now because apparently it's over, but a lot of questions unanswered.
And what about the core issue that caused this, the way that the crime lab writes down that it's synthetic marijuana when there's obvious signs, scientists quit over it, that it's actually condensed or, you know, the stuff that they use in edibles.
Right, a lot of controversy over that. That's caught a lot of attention. And so far, again, you know, with talking to Michigan State Police, nothing really has changed. This is still happening. You know, the attorney who picked up Max's case, that's Michael Camorn on the east side of the state, we're in contact, and he says he's still seeing these cases. Right now, he's dealing with one in the thumb area. So it's a larger, louder call to action to make a change, especially in our state medical marijuana law. Things like including legalization of concentrates. That's what we saw in this case. A big thing that affects patients who are kids.
But in this case, all concentrates considered synthetic by the crime lab.
Right, and that is something that, like you mentioned, a huge revolt within the scientists and the lab directors saying, you know, some of them saying it was a miscarriage of justice, things that we've quoted from those emails that were leaked back in November.
More to come, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Dana, thanks for that.
Yep.
A West Michigan organization getting a $27,000